Welcome in, One Nation, to another episode of the Hive podcast. I'm your host, TJ Winger, today joined by Kelsey Lagunas.
Yes.
And Kelsey's going to go ahead and talk to us about what's gone into this past season opener, as well as how she's feeling about cross-country team and her performance going into PreNats, not too far away. Kelsey, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So, Kelsey, coming off the first full season opener this past weekend over at Virginia Tech, but I'm interested in what went into that process. So you talk about different sports, basketball, right? You're lifting weight, you're getting ready in the off-season. What does the off-season process look like for cross-country?
So the off-season starts usually end of May, start of June, and we start training. Usually coach allows us to start at a base mileage, so about anywhere from 50% to about 70% of our mileage that he expects us to make throughout the summer and then going into season. So we increase it every 10 days, and we get to increase our mileage as well as how much volume we want to take in. And then we base it off of all that goes into summer training. So that can mean sometimes we do a lot of like core circuits, stability circuits, bands, barefoots, just to maintain our actual like physical side of running, because you can't just run to be better. You have to work on your core as well, because you only stand on one foot when you run. So that is just something that we have to get into. So our season starts in May, and we continue and don't end until the May of all of our off-season stuff.
You know, you bring up two good points there. It's more than just running, but even now I'm just thinking about it. Yeah, we do run with just one foot on the ground at a time. That is mind-blowing. Wow, thank you for doing that. Thought-provoking episode today. So, going into that Virginia Tech Alumni Invitational, you performed pretty well. You were recommended by Coach Reed to come on this podcast, so you at least have his vote of confidence. But how did you feel about your personal showing, but also the team overall?
It was a great rest bus for all of us as runners. We haven't had a race for over a year, and especially with everybody's seniors that were now sophomores this year. They never got even a season of track, and not even cross-country season. So it was just great to get back out on an actual cross-country course, because it's different from track. It's not a flat course. It can be grassy, it can be gravel, it can be hills, it can be turns. So the performance of everyone was just a good eye-opening of what can we do to now perform ourselves to be better, and our upcoming meet of PreNats.
Well, don't give away too much with this next question I'm going to ask you, but again, you look at different sports and you see soccer and like, okay, well, we can change our formation from match to match, or we can make this tweak, we'll get this person some more minutes. What are the adjustments for cross-country from meet to meet?
So it really just depends. So like on each individual person, because we can all race, but can we race to our expectations? So for me, instance, like I raced for a good rest bus of opening up, but I have to learn how to run a faster mile, because I know that I might not be able to change gears at the end. So me running like 5 to 10 seconds faster in the first mile will actually help me better in the last mile, of me just knowing that I can still sprint at the end, but maybe not as fast as my competitors will be. So each person is individualized to how they can improve their race better.
So I think something that's really interesting with cross-country and some of the other sport, like swimming is a lot of the same. It is very individually based, but you're also, of course, like rooting for your teammates. You want everybody to succeed. You want the program to look good and perform well. What is that balance like? Focusing in on, I have to do my job, but then also saying, I got to do what I can to, lift up my teammates and try to encourage everybody to try to perform better as a unit overall. So Coach always talks about that we aren't just two individual teams, we're a program, and so we have to motivate each other. So if the guys team is doing really well, we need to encourage that and not feel sad for us as a girls team, but bring that momentum in with us as for the next races. And it goes along with the fact that if we can do better as an individual, we are then helping the team grow so much more, because ultimately we want to get to that like conference of winning ODACs. We want to get to that regionals of going to nationals, and we want to go into nationals as a team, just not individually, because we can only help ourselves be a team is when we can perform at each other's best as an individual. So let me ask you mentioned Coach Reed a couple of times now. Coach Reed, Coach Michaela, they're both great people to talk to. But as a member of the program, how would you best start with Coach Reed and then move on to Coach Michaela?
So best describing Coach, he is a very flexible, understanding, but super highly motivated man that encourages us on and off the course of through academics, but also through our sport. And he wants us to build a lifestyle that he knows could be better for us. So that means like getting 8 hours of sleep. As a human, we need to get sleep. So that's like something that he's super big on. So it's the lifestyle part for him. It's just growing us as more than just runners. It's growing us as human beings. And that's how I would describe Coach Reed. And then for Michaela, I would describe her as this person who is willing to sacrifice so much to help anyone if they are willing to ask for help, and to help everyone understand, even though she might not know the answer right away, but she will look into it to find that right answer for you.
That's awesome. 2 great words of affirmation coming from you, or 2 characters of affirmation. Hopefully they're listening and they'll get to feel good about everything you just said about them. So last thing I want to ask you, we kind of talked about at the start of the episode, October 2nd is PreNats. That's super exciting. You guys have some time to take that individual work that you were just talking about. How are you feeling individually, but also for the program as a whole?
I'm excited to go to PreNats. I went there my freshman year because the location, when they did the whole routing again, it ended up in Louisville again. So I'm excited to go back to see the course. Hopefully they get it right this time. But I'm just excited. It's a great course to run on. It's not only flat, but it has some hills, so something that I enjoy the most. But yeah, as a girls team, I'm super excited to see what we can do. We have such a young program, and they are going to be great when we figure out how to run confidently and run well as groups and come into that like PreNats of like, oh, we can do this. We are that team now. And for the guys, I'm just super excited to see what they can do. They have so much potential on them. They're a young group too, but they also have great veterans on them. And so that is something that it's just super exciting, because I think it can take a whole change of when we get into PreNats. Like, this is an eye-opening statement for everyone that we've been on the radar, but now we're like on the radar now for going into maybe a bid.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Well, we're rooting for you, and we know you guys have big things in store for this upcoming season. Kelsey, thank you for taking the time to join me today.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Awesome. That's going to bring it close to this episode of the Hive podcast. Until next week, we are signing off.